Mr. Witness, can you hear me?
Yes, I do hear you.
For attending to testify, could you repeat after me, please? I solemnly declare that I will speak the truth.
Yes. من سوگند یاد میکنم که حقیقت را بگویم.
I didn't get a translation.
Not yet, it's coming. I solemnly declare to tell the truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
To tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
If you just wait there, there'll be questions from counsel, followed by questions from the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the panel, the testimony starts on page 52. Witness number 31, if you could please go ahead and tell us what you observed on November 15th.
The 15th of November would be the 24th of Aban. On that day, we were informed by the social media that our brother had been killed in the protests. 24th of Aban, the 9 o'clock in the morning, I look at night, he had been killed through the virtual space. I knew about it at 10 o'clock. I contacted my nephews. Nobody gave me any answer, and at long last, some of the people whom we know, they called us and said that is what had happened. My younger brother called me and said, just come here, and they are persecuting us, they are hitting us, beating us with batons. And he lived in another city, and 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, when I got there, I saw that things had gone back almost to normal. That's to say, I was not myself in the protests. My younger brother was there. My brother was there, and he was trying to go back to his house, and his house happened to be near the location of the protest. And because he was passing through the protest, he was just shot at, and innocently he was killed.
Can you tell us? Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead with your question, please. The next day, we went to the governor's building. They did not respond to us, and they said that afterwards they said that they had taken him to the capital of the province. We said, why have you killed our brother? They said, no, we have not done this. He has been killed by a hunting gun. We have arrested a number of people who have said that this is what they have done. 2-3 days they gave us a round so that they could extricate themselves, and they didn't want to accept that they had killed them. It was the hours of the protests, and the order to kill had not been issued yet. The order to kill came next day when Khamenei had a speech, and he killed the protesters, the vicious people. And when this was said, then they started killing them.
Can you explain to us, in your statement, you mentioned that 700 bullets were fired the night that your brother passed away. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
بله درسته. این 700 گلوله بعد از تحقیقات و شکایاتی که ما انجام دادیم از دادسرای نظام که باید پاسخگو باشن.
After the investigation that we did and the complaint that we lodged, they admitted later on that 700 bullets had been fired, but for 3 days they would not accept it at all. They were saying during those 3 days that they had not shot even one bullet. And after 3 days, when the situation in the country went back to normal, they started talking themselves, and they said that there were a lot of forces to prevent the protests, and that's why they shot people.
Could you tell us, explain to us what happened at the cemetery and the procedure with burying your brother?
After 3 days, when we went, of course, I have to say that before delivering the body to us, the authorities had run extensive investigation about us to know, for example, who is in this family, is there a thug in this family, a riffraff in this family, so that they could label him as one, as a riffraff, as a thug. But fortunately, they could not find any kind of evidence to that effect to say that this person who was killed or his family were bad people. There were dissenters, there were people who liked to fight all the time, to quarrel all the time. They did not find anything. So they contacted us themselves. They said, go to the capital of the province and take delivery of the body of your brother. When we went there, they said, we have made all the arrangements, go and get the body. Of course, they were not very cooperative. They sent us to this organ, that organ. They said the letter has to come from here, from there. And it took us a day to deliver, to get the body. And we went to the forensic medicine in the same province. And the forensic medicine had sent an expert of firearms because they wanted to know what the weapon was with which this person was shot and killed this human being. And the expert was there, and I pleaded with him, and I said, tell me how my brother was killed, because they are alleging that he has been killed with a hunting rifle. And the expert said he was a good person. He was a conscientious person, although he worked with the forensic medicine. And he said, no, at close range, he has been shot at with a military gun to the extent that his skull has opened. And it was not in such a way that to say it was accidentally shooting and it was not deliberate. No, it was deliberate. And when the experts said all these things, we realized that the security forces wanted to kill him, and it was not even easier for them. My brother was passing by. He had his working clothes on, and they did not even say to themselves that they should not kill him. A worker is a very humble, noble person. You cannot only look at what they are dressed in, which is very humble. You have to see how noble a worker is. When we wanted to take delivery of the body, it was night, so we left it in the morgue, and then we said tomorrow morning we are going to leave for this our city, and we were in contact with our relatives and close people in order to bury the body. At 2 o'clock in the morning, they called us and said, right now, tonight, you have to come and take the body and go and bury it right now. And we said, why? Why do we have to bury the body during the night? This is not a forlorn person without having any relatives. It was a noble person. Why does he have to be buried like an unknown person and nobody should come to his funeral? In any event, when we were there, we knew that we were completely on the supervision supervision of the security forces. And 2 or 3 people were there during the night, and they were observing us, lest we would make a movement that they did not like. And if you wanted to go to the morgue or to the cemetery, Behesh Zahra, they would follow us. Even when we talked, they would control it, and when we were talking, they would call us later on, and they would say, let's beware not to say this, not to say that, because we are observing you. In any event, during that night, we resisted them, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, we moved the body from the capital of the province to the provincial town, and we moved very slowly. I myself was driving the ambulance. The weather was not good. It was rainy, and the region that we were passing through was a very difficult region to to drive on, and they were even questioning that, why are you going so slowly? And I said, this is a difficult terrain to drive on. I don't want to kill anybody else. One person is killed is enough. And in any event, through whatever device, through whatever talk it was, we did not bury the body during the night. And we said, if we get to the cemetery before 8 o'clock in the morning, they will not allow us to bury the body, and they are going to keep us the next night. And we said, no, this cannot happen. We have relatives, we have family members, and you want to make our situation worse. And they said, no, what is important for us is the security of the city. And if you take the body into the capital of the province, there could be an uprising again. People can rise again and rush to the streets, and we will not be able to control them anymore again. And I said, well, you are the ones who are responsible for the security of your city, and it is none of our business. The only demand that we have is that the body of our brother is buried respectfully. First, they accepted it. They said, okay, but you must not give any kind of slogans when you are carrying the body. Nobody should say anything. You should not have any kind of slogans which are inappropriate. And we said, no, the only thing that we want to do is to bury our brother in a dignified manner, respectfully. And to a certain extent, we succeeded in doing so. Of course, the cemetery, which was Behesh Zahra, they had closed it down, and also they had the snipers on rooftops, that if there is a big crowd in the cemetery and if the crowd increases, they would start shooting. And they had even planted others on the crossroads, so that if there are passers-by who were going to Behesh Zahra, they would search them. They would ask them, why are you going there? How are you related to this person who was killed? If you are immediate family, you can go, but if you are 3rd or 4th degree relative, no, you are not going to be allowed by us at all to go to Behesh Zahra. And this we found out a few days after the burial, and we even objected to this, and we said, you did not have the right to do that.
Mr. Witness, could you just slow down a little bit, because what you're saying is being interpreted?
Yes, 3 days after we had taken delivery of the body, we buried the body with due respect. They wanted to throw obstacles in our way. They did not want the number of the mourners to be more than a number of people. I come from a big clan, and if all our relatives wanted to come there from the province, it would be full, and there would be no other place that you could even tread in Behesh Zahra. So the authorities were trying to reduce the number of mourners in Behesh Zahra.
Did you have a case with the prosecutor, and if so, can you tell us about that?
Yes, we did have a case. After the burial of my brother, we went to the prosecutor's office and we complained and we said that the perpetrator has come to light. It has to be identified. We have to know who it was and why, for what purpose he killed our brother. He had not committed any crimes, any sin. He was a simple worker. He was going from the place where he worked to his house. He was returning to his house. And even if somebody takes a step to do something wrong in the region, you have no right to shoot this person in his head and kill him like that, let alone if you have somebody who was a simple worker who was just passing through that particular area to go home. The prosecutor said very well, we will pursue this, and the same, and the prosecutor said I was not there that night when this happened, and I even told the judge to determine the distance between where our brother fell to his death and the distance between that and the gas station, and this distance was 85 meters. That's to say, the gas station from where the crowds were. And they promised us that they are going to pursue the matter and they are going to find a perpetrator, and we are going to make him pay for the crime that he has committed. But they beat around the bush and they did nothing. And after 6 months, we realized that from this prosecutor's office, it had gone to the public prosecutor's office, the case. And I went to the establishment's public prosecutor and I said, why is it that you have done this? Have you come to any conclusions that you have done this? And they said, yes, we even found the perpetrator. And I said, okay, identify him, tell him who he is, tell us who he is. And he said, no, we cannot do that. He's one of the military members, and we cannot do that. The military themselves, they are going to punish him. And they said that you have to consent so that we close the case. I said, no, I am not going to consent that you close the case. And I said that we have to find the main factor for what has happened. We are going to find the perpetrator. And even the public prosecutor's office, he said, either you consent that we close the case or we are going to dismiss the case. And I said, well, you have the permission, you have the force, you have the authority. You can do everything you want, even without our consent. You can dismiss the case and you can archive it, but we are not in any way accept this kind of humiliation to consent to a case which has not identified the perpetrator of this crime. And they said that they have archived the case and they did not give us any response anymore.
May have questions for you now.
No questions, it seems. Oh, one question. I beg your pardon.
Yeah. I learned from your written statement that the Justice Administration, acting on behalf of the Governorate, paid the sum of $3 million into installment as blood money, and also learned that other family also paid them diyat or diya or blood money as a compensation of and the laws. And what do you perceive that blood money in your in relation to the killing of your brother?
The blood money that was considered for my brother was 300 million tumans. 300 million tumans is sufficient to buy two very low quality cars, Saipa cars. Do you think that the life of an individual is comparable with two simple cars? And the money that was paid to the family of my brother was not sufficient enough to cover the costs of that family. Therefore, the 300 million, which was paid as a blood money, was not sufficient enough to cover the costs of his wife and 3 children. They paid the blood money so that we would not pursue the case any further. They wanted their family to have some money at least to manage themselves for a while. But altogether, our main request was to seek justice. We wanted to know who had killed our brother. The money does not compensate for the life of a human being. You cannot compare the life of a human being with a certain amount of money. He was about 37, 38 years old. He had 3 children. He could have a decent life. So that 300 million could only help. He could have earned that 300 million in 6 months' time or 1 year at most. And as a result, he lost 50 years of his life if he had a normal, average life. And they took our brother from us.
Actually, it's not the amount, but also, do you think that the payment is also the proof of confession from the authority that they killed your brother?
بله.
Yes, that is the case, because they had no evidence that my brother had done anything wrong, or that he was a wrongdoer, or he had done anything against his own country. That is why they accepted to pay the blood money. They, in fact, gave us an evidence that he was innocent and he was just a passerby and he just got killed incidentally. And there were some other people who were killed during the protests. So they asked their families to pay to give the bodies of them to their families while we were paid blood money by the government as my brother was killed. The reason was that my brother was killed innocently.
Thank you, sir, and you have the condolences of the panel. I just have a few short questions. Firstly, you indicated in your statement that the judge at the military court indicated that it was known who had killed your brother and that the military would take care of it. Without revealing anything about your identity, so we're not interested in the place, but were you given any additional information about the type of military unit or anything of that nature?
They were security forces. The security forces who rode motorbikes.
In terms of the type of security forces, any precision with that? Was it the Basij forces? Was it the IRGC? Any additional detail you can provide would be helpful.
They were the law enforcement forces or the security forces. The law enforcement forces are comprised of different branches. Some of them are working in the police stations. There's a unit which is called the combat unit. They act outside cities, and there are some other forces who are called security forces, who are only used to suppress protesters. And also they are under the order of the law enforcement force of the district. So the commander of the IRGC, the intelligence, the governor, and also the Friday prayer leader, all together they form the Provincial Security Council. So they are the ones who decide for the city how a protest should be suppressed or controlled. The Provincial Security Council had decided that 5 of day should not be the 40th day after the death of my brother, and we could not hold ceremonies on that day. We said that without our presence, they could not decide for us, and we said that if you wanted to make any decision in the Provincial Security Council about my brother and his ceremonies, we should invite us to also have a word there. We told them that you are duty-bound and responsible to protect people, safeguard the security of the city. You are not allowed to kill people, whether they are protesters, whether they are in a gathering, or whether they are passerbys. You were only trying to scatter people by frightening them and having 1 or 2 people killed to intimidate them. And we said that they were not allowed and authorized to act in such a way. We told them that they had to serve people, to bring people peace and comfort. I don't have anything to add if you have any questions.
Just another question. You told my learned colleague who asked you about the blood money and the martyr status, and you indicated to her that the reason this was given was because your brother was innocent. Would it be possible to suggest that there may be additional reasons why your brother and why the family was provided with blood money? Could it be also about the status of your family or any other considerations? Without revealing anything to do with your actual family, I think it would be good to know a little bit more about the context, if you have it.
I do understand what you're exactly saying. You say that because maybe we were somehow dependent to the establishment, therefore we were somehow given the blood money because our brother was killed in an incident and they wanted to somehow sympathize with us. That is why they paid us the blood money. No, we only were seeking the killer. We just wanted to become clear who had committed this crime. By paying the blood money, they were trying to help to encourage us to close the case and not to pursue the case anymore. They said that if we do not give a consent, they would not pay us the blood money. Well, there were 3 small children, minors, who had to go on with their life. We still were pursuing the case, but the governor's office confessed that my brother was innocent, and therefore they paid the blood money to my brother's wife and his children, so that they would be able to manage their life for a while. But still, me, my father, and the other relatives are pursuing the case. We believe that the blood of my brother should not be stampled upon. We were not happy to receive the blood money even. And the wife and the children of my brother were not insisting either to receive the blood money, but they had to somehow manage their life. That's why the governor's office paid the blood money, even though we did not give any consent. And we still pursued the case. Well, the governor's office, the prosecutor's office said that they will archive the case, but we said it doesn't matter to us. We will still pursue the case at higher authorities. You know who has killed our brother, and you are trying to support your own people, and you are not introducing the individual. You may even say that the individual had made a mistake. You can arrest him, interrogate him, but you didn't even do that.
That clarifies significantly. And I just have one final question. In your statement, you indicate that they had been circulating rumors about your brother, and the family to the media clarified that the rumors were false. So the first question is, who is they? Without revealing the place, are you able to be more precise about what unit or what government body, if it is a government body, was spreading the rumors? And secondly, clearly by going to the media, was there any reprisal taken against your family or any pressure placed for you not to continue to go to the media?
We were just contacted, and we were told that if we we were told not to respond to foreign media if they were contacted with. They said that we should never respond to the media, and we should not follow up our case. But I had an interview with the domestic media in order to put an end to the rumors against my brother. They had said that my brother was climbing someplace. The Ministry of Petroleum, or he wanted to put fire to the petrol station. They were trying to make him look like a criminal, but we told everyone on the media that this was a lie. But when my brother's son was going to school, even the school principal mistreated him, and the principal of the school told the little boy that his father was trying to explode the city. That was not a good behavior with that little child. He was just 7, 8 years old or 10 years old, and he was saying that I won't go to school anymore after what I've heard from the principal of the school. So after the rumors were finished, and the public prosecutor said that he was innocent and he was just a passerby and he did not want to take him to the protests, the rumors were ended. There are some illiterate people who believe such rumors, and there are many individuals who within the gatherings try to fan the flames of rumors. There are different groups of people in Iran. There are some who want their country to be proud, and there are some others who are only looking for after their own interests. And they believe that whatever the prayer leader said, they should believe that. They believe in rumors easily. There are very limited number of people who are intellectual enough and enlightened enough to know that if the fate of the country is clear and good, and if the authorities act well, then we have good people. There would be no need for the protests. There would be no need for anyone to sleep hungry at night. Some people do not have this understanding and just fan the flames of rumors. There are some people who are active in Basij. There are some people whose only work is to disappoint the intellectuals. They have even created an army, a cyber army, and they are trying to disappoint people and frustrate people in the cyberspace. And there are some people who gather in some places who try to spread rumors so that they would frustrate people. These are people who are acting against the freedom seekers in the country. There are many of these such individuals in cities.
Thank you, sir.
Justice Yaqub.
Thank you. Just two quick questions. How much did your brother earn at the time?
برادر من
My brother had his own business. He was a contractor. He was a freelance contractor. He did not have a fixed income. He was not an employee. He was a professional. He had a good business. He was a freelance contractor. He used to receive 10 to 12 million 2 months a month. He left home early in the morning and worked till night. He had many clients and customers. And he provided his family.
One question. There's reference in the statement to the insurance company having refused to pay and somebody in the government writing a confidential letter as a result of which the insurance company paid. All I want to know is how much was the policy worth?
My brother, of course, was insured, that's to say, that until the time that he had employment, he was working in an office or for somebody else, they would insure him. But from the time that he was self-employed, that kind of insurance was cut off, and he could not receive anything. It had not come up to the necessary level to be retired, for example, or to be paid for being disabled, or to be laid off. There is a law that you have to pay 10 or 12 years for insurance so that afterwards they can give you something, or if you disappear, your family can be paid something. But he did not have a long enough time on his policy so that the insurance would pay the children. So we were compelled to pay the insurance company so that that policy would come to the necessary level, and now 1,500,000 or 2 million 2 months are paid to the children as Social Security. This is something that he had paid himself. He had paid the premiums, and what it lacked, us paid, or the relatives paid, and even the representative in the city had come, had inspected even his house, and he also paid a sum so that it would come to the necessary level so that the children could be paid and live off of it.
I just want to be clear. Ultimately, the figure he got was around 1,500,000. That is the maximum amount. Is that right? I'm just interested in the accuracy of the figure. That's all.
تومن
1,500,000 2 months. That's to say, if you convert it to dollars, it would be $50. $50 a month.
No more questions from the panel. Counsel?
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Our next witness is 109.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. We appreciate you taking the time to speak about such difficult issues. We will study your evidence very carefully. Thank you.